This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
This is It Was a Thing on TV.
Spoiler number 1 is Dr. Lee frowns. It stinks.
What is going on? What is going on?
Episode 126, Submission 1700. Oh, Madeline. Oh, Madeline aired on ABC from September 27th, 1983 to March 13th, 1984 for a total of 18 episodes.
So what can we say about the early to mid-'80s? Madeline Kahn had a sitcom. Yes, Madeline Kahn, star of Stage, Screen, and Clue. God,
Yeah, multi-talented, yes.
Oh, one of the legends in comedy.
Unappreciated, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, especially if you ever watch Madeline Kahn's appearances on Saturday Night Live back in the day, gold.
Indeed.
Yes.
So, and ABC was, if I'm not mistaken, this would be a year or two removed from Three's Company's cancellation, right?
No, this would be around the last year of Three's Company.
Oh, okay.
Or the next to last
year. Yeah, this would coincide with the last year because Three's Company was still 84. Then you had
Three's a Crowd.
Which
we just referred to not that long ago.
Yeah. With the Ropers, yeah.
So ABC was basically looking for, because NBC was on the rise at that moment.
Well, not yet.
But the meat was in the sandwich. I mean,
Cheers would be in its second season in '83.
So Cheers would have been in its second season.
Family Ties would be in its second season.
Hill Street Blues would have swept the Emmys already.
Yeah.
And of course, at this time, Night Court would premiere as a mid-season replacement in January of '84, so that was coming. And of course, how dare we forget? Since everything goes back to Match Game Hollywood Squares, it premiered Halloween Day of 1983.
Notice we haven't gotten to CBS yet because I don't know how CBS was doing in the '80s. How was CBS doing in the '80s?
They had Dallas.
They had Dallas, Falcon Crest, Newhart.
Yeah, they were fine.
They were fine.
60 minutes. They've had 60 Minutes forever, so yeah.
Murder, She Wrote, I believe, was the thing.
No, that was 85.
Oh, my bad.
Fall of
84, 85.
Yeah, fall of '84 was Murder, She Wrote.
So ABC was basically looking for its next Three's Company because I think somewhere along the line someone said, we're getting on an age this schedule from the early 70s or late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah, because Laverne and Shirley, I think, was in its final season. Happy Days was in its
final
season.
We're going to talk about Laverne and Shirley's final
Laverne and Shirley was, I think, gone after 82, 83. Didn't go to 84.
I thought it was till 84.
I can
because Eddie Mecca was on Match Game Hollywood Squares.
I'll take a look. Definitely Happy Days was gone after the 84 season, 83, 84 season.
Hold on. Laverne and Shirley's final season was May 10th, 83 it ended.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to add. So yeah, I was right. I knew it was gone in 83. But yeah, Happy Days would have been gone after the 83, 84 season, and yeah, Mork and Mindy would have been gone, I think, 83 as well. But so the only real, the only real show you still had left from the late 70s at that point would have been Love Boat, and didn't that become like a quarterly thing once we got to like 85, 86?
Something like that.
Yeah, so it wasn't a regular series at that point. It was sort of like, okay, every 3 months it comes out of mothballs. Hey, the Love Boat's going down to Cancun, and you've got to see whatever TV stars they put on. I almost said Carol Wayne. Carol Wayne would have been dead by 85, and I don't even think she did Love Boat.
I think at this point, Love Boat was probably like a summer seasonal show, kind of like in the same way Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was in its final 2 seasons on ABC, I guess.
Well, we've got to blame Ted McGinley for it.
Yeah.
He kills TV shows not named Married with Children because everything in this show goes back to Married with Children. Oh, I'm sorry. Match Game Hollywood Scores and Married with Children.
But not Wings.
We love Wings, though.
We
love Wings.
Because it made Tony Shalhoub's career.
Just don't talk about when Roy broke Lowell's blimp.
Which is a future episode.
Yeah.
That is indeed a future episode. So they're basically looking for their next big thing. They think they found it in a sitcom that aired from 1980 to 1983 on ITV called Pig in the Middle.
So the multi-talented and very lovable, she's just the most adorable little thing.
Oh, she
Madeline
is.
Kahn.
Yep.
Madeline Kahn, she had the lead in her own self-titled show, and yet it only lasted 18 episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the ratings were average, let's say. I mean, if anything nowadays did what it did back then,
it'd probably get renewal.
It would be on for 40 years. No, it would. I mean, we'll go over the numbers later, but taking a look at the ratings and what it tied with, it tied with, well, one show that sort of falls under the category that we mentioned earlier of shows that were sort of in its waning years in the mid-'80s or early '80s. And also another show that had a decent life, wasn't overly popular, but also wasn't total crap. But again, we'll talk about that later.
One thing that I found after we finished recording this episode, there's a promo spot prior to the premiere of the show on ABC that features John Ritter promoting Oh Madeline, and we will play it for you right here.
Hi, John Ritter here again at the world-famous Madeline Museum with more great Madelines in history. This Madeline was tragically wrenched out of her natural habitat and thrust into the whirlwind pace of the modern world. Madeline Kahn.
It's a nice place to visit.
Now, this Madeline had a spell cast upon her by a wicked witch. The spell could only be broken by love's first kiss from a handsome prince, Sleeping Madeline.
I'm waiting.
Now, the greatest Madeline of all time, Madeline the Married.
It's old Madeline.
I did not get married and sit at home every night. I had my share of that when I was single, thank you.
Starring Madeline Kahn, following Three's Company, Tuesdays this fall.
And yeah, Ernie Anderson was at the end of the promo spot because, of course, ABC and Ernie Anderson.
So this show was actually an adaptation of, like I said, a British sitcom called Pig in the Middle. Which I was reading the description of Pig in the Middle, and I'm thinking to myself, how is this an adaptation of Pig in the Middle? This is nothing like Pig in the Middle. The Pig in the Middle, I'm reading this from TV.com. Bartholomew Barney Wade is finding marriage to his wife Susan increasingly difficult and unfulfilling. When he meets Nellie Bly at one of his wife's parties, he quickly falls for her. The two begin a lengthy relationship which, for one reason or another, never becomes intimate. As in life, many things tend to get in the way of happiness. This love triangle goes through many positions. Barney leaves Susan at the beginning of the third series, then his relationship with Nellie begins to lose its sparkle while he thinks new thoughts about Susan. So it's basically Dos Mujeres Un Camino, basically. But
now, wait, you said Nellie Bly? Not that Nellie Bly.
Not that Nellie Bly.
Okay, I just want to clear things up.
Yeah. Her full name is Penelope Bly. So.
Ah.
Yeah. Whereas, Oh, Madeline, the show is about, I guess you could call it a gender-flipped reboot of the show, because we have Madeline Wayne, a housewife who's bored after 10 years of marriage, and her best friend, a divorcee named Doris, and Madeline, who's bored with her life as a housewife, decides to try every trendy diversion that she can find, such as seaweed-based health foods, exercise clubs, and ladies-only clubs featuring male strippers.
Oh yeah, this is peak early '80s right there.
Yep,
peak,
we're ticking off all the '80s boxes, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, this is all the early '80s stereotypes and tropes right there. I sort of totally get why this didn't last terribly long. Zero creativity.
Yeah. Oh, you want to talk about zero creativity? They wanted to, I'm looking at all of the information here, and it looks like they wanted to make an '80s version of I Love Lucy, which we're not that far from, by the way.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, but that's another episode.
Yeah. Oh, and another thing I want to note is, who produced Oh, Madeline?
That would be Tom Werner and Marcy Carsey.
This would be the first, I believe, production from the Carsey-Werner company.
Yep, and the first of two that involved Madeline Kahn.
Yes.
Also, in terms of producers, the producer of this was a woman whose name is Irma Kalish, and I didn't know she was a producer. Where I recognize the name from, she wrote a ton of Too Close for Comfort back in the day.
Oh.
She, and the thing is, looking at her IMDb, she was a producer, she was a writer, and a prolific one on both fronts, as a matter of fact. And it looks like Irma Kalish is still alive. She was born in 24, and it doesn't say she's deceased, so she'd be 96 years old.
Wow.
God bless her. But getting back to what she's written and what she has produced, as I said, she wrote quite a bit of Too Close for Comfort with her husband. I believe her husband's name is Austin. Not looking at IMDb for that, but yeah, they wrote a lot of. I want to say like the vast majority of Too Close for Comfort. She wrote F Troop, My Three Sons, albeit very late in the run of My Three Sons. Looks like up until the last year. Looks like from about 66 to 71, the last year of My Three Sons.
She and her husband Austin wrote for Good Times.
Oh, Good Times.
They produced Good Times, and
she's listed as a writer for 5 episodes of Good Times. Oh, she wrote 2 episodes of Carter Country, because why not? Because we frigging mentioned Carter Country, that abomination, and her name just happens to come up.
And you know who her son is? You know who Austin and Irma Kalish's son is?
Who?
Bruce Kalish, who wrote and produced everything from The Incredible Hulk, Mork and Mindy, The Fall Guy, and 3 seasons of Power Rangers.
Oh.
The SPD, Mystic Force, Operation Overdrive, and Jungle Fury.
Okay. So, yeah, runs in the family.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of producing, we mentioned Good Times. IMDb says 40 episodes of Too Close for Comfort. So that's no small task. And it looks like it was primarily the first 2 seasons, maybe 3 seasons, 1980 to 82. And then obviously O'Madeline, Facts of Life, specifically right near again, talking about a show that was started in the late 70s and was in its last legs, getting more into the late 80s. She was a producer of 46 episodes, and it looks like it's the last 2 seasons of Facts of Life, 86 to 88, 227, Valerie. So she's got quite a diverse resume, to say the least, in writing and producing.
Yep. And like we said, this would be the first Carsey-Werner production, and also the first Carsey-Werner production involving Madeline Kahn, the first of 2 such collabos. The second, of course, would be later on down the line on CBS with Cosby.
Yeah, and Cosby itself was an adaptation, I believe, of One Foot in the Grave, another British show.
Yep.
And another fun fact, didn't the final episode of One Foot in the Grave, if I remember correctly, go up against the first £1 million win on the UK Millionaire?
I believe so.
I seem to remember this happening on the same night.
Yep. The episode was Things Aren't Simple Anymore, and it went up against Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. And I seem to recall that the actors in One Foot in the Grave were not very happy with it, I guess.
The fact that they went up against the first millionaire £1 million win.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how would they know? I mean, how they know it was going to air the first £1 million win at the same time?
Hey, angry people do stupid things. What can I say?
Hey, it's not like ABC today, or in 2000, when they would spoil, anyone who was even close to the $1 million question.
So, Oh, Madeline was a show about a bored housewife who tried every trick in the book to keep entertained. Except for, strangely enough, an affair with another person, which is what the original British TV show was all about. So, yay?
Yeah.
Now begins. So, yeah. And that was pretty much the gimmick for the entire series, it looks like. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, you know what? Eventually they're going to run out of gimmicks. Well, they ran out of an audience before they could run out of gimmicks, so what the hell do I know?
They had good gimmicks.
When,
as we get into the show, there's one episode we'll talk about, which we did preview in the our little montage after the year in review show. The whole episode, I think, was very enjoyable, and it has a special guest star who we'll talk about a little bit later. But the one line in that show, it was very shocking to say the least. Again, we'll talk about it in a little bit, but I just wanted to get that off my chest.
Yeah. Can we go into the rest of the cast, please?
Oh, yes, we can. We already talked about Madeline Kahn, and honestly, if you don't know what Madeline Kahn's been in, what podcast are you even listening to?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you don't know, you need to do some research.
Yeah, and her husband, Charlie, was played by James Sloyan, who we all remember from 2 or 3 weeks of the Match Game Hollywood Squares Hour, but is more of a classically trained actor who is a perennial that guy from That Thing who got his start on daytime drama, Young and the Restless, General Hospital, Ryan's Home, but never anything that lasted longer than Madeline, I guess.
Yeah.
Did you say 2 to 3 weeks?
Well, how many weeks was I off?
You're off by 1 or 2. He just did 1 week.
Yeah, he just did 1 week.
Oh, he did 1 week.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think the week he was on was the week of the last episode of Oh, Madeline. Because actually the following week, and I don't want to spoil another cast member that we're going to talk about very shortly, she was on Jesse Wells, promoted as from Oh, Madeline, but the problem is the show had already been canceled at that point.
Yeah.
Or if it wasn't canceled, it was literally on its last episode. So it's gone. It be gone.
Yeah, it was gone. But James Sloyan would go on to star in a lot of cult science fiction series. He was in Buck Rogers. He was in Star Trek The Next Generation, where he played... Yep, it all comes back to TNG, doesn't it?
Yeah.
He played a defecting Romulan admiral in The Defector, and also...
He played a Romulan defector, and the episode was called The Defector.
Yeah, he also was on Deep Space Nine, where he played an adult version of Alexander Rashenko, which you all know is Worf's son.
Yes!
Who's played by Brian Bonsall.
So he played the adult version of Brian Bonsall.
He played the adult version of Brian Bonsall.
That is amazing.
And Greg should appreciate he was also on Quantum Leap.
Yeah,
for one episode.
Which episode was it?
Last Dance Before an Execution, May 12th of 1971.
Okay, so that would be like, I believe, a season 3-4 episode.
It was 1991, so that would have been season 3, I think.
Yeah, it'd be season 3. And by the
Yeah,
way,
he's got a ton of credits. Yes.
By the way, we are going to talk about an episode of Quantum Leap this year. No spoilers.
Just a bit of spoilers. Oh, fun fact: his daughter Samantha can be seen in Scandal, Hush, In the Key of Eli, and Grey's Anatomy.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's James Sloyan. Their friend Doris Leone, who is the divorcee, by the way,
yes,
is played by, and you mentioned her name, so we're just going to go ahead and talk about her, Jessie Wells.
Who, as Mike mentioned in a previous episode, was in not much besides this.
Yeah, she was in Oh Madeline. She was on the week of Match Game Hollywood Squares when Oh Madeline got canceled. And that's the list. Good night, everybody.
Actually,
I'm going to correct that because she was actually had quite a big role in the last season of Soap, playing Gwen, who, if I remember correctly, I think Gwen was possibly one of the girlfriends of Billy Crystal's character.
Yes, wasn't Billy Crystal's character going to get married at the end of the 4th season? If I remember,
yeah, and that would have been a big deal in the Soap fanverse because.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. You see,
there are so many. We talk about A plots and B plots. I mean, if you look at Soap, you might have had like an F or a G plot at one point in any given episode.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, she played Gwen on Soap, and I believe Gwen was one of Jodie's girlfriends because I think, if I remember correctly, he went to the hospital. That they were trying to do some sort of conversion for him because remember Jodie was gay, and he was eventually dating. And again, to stir the pot even more, in 1980-81, he was dating an African-American female at one point in that last season. And I think Gwen falls under that same category, or at least in terms of a female that Jodie was dating. So, yeah, she actually, it says 9 episodes. That's a pretty long arc for Soap, especially in that last season, because, again, you had so many things going on that show.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Not to mention Wand 1 and Wand 2.
Oh, that was season 4 as well, so that was definitely one of the story arcs.
That's another callback.
Yes, another callback to when we were talking about Joe Mantegna and
Lloyd Faso.
And was it Luis Avalos?
Luis Avalos was on that too. Yeah, the leader of the Wands.
But also Lori Faso. So there's all the Wands right there.
Yep. And she was another one of that person from That Thing. And playing her divorced husband would be Louis Giambalvo, who was also one of those, that guy from That Thing. He was, oh God, okay. I'm gonna have to breathe here. He was in Barney Miller, Heart to Heart, St. Elsewhere, Hill Street Blues, The Love Boat, Remington Steele, The A-Team, Simon and Simon, Fame, Knots Landing, Murder, She Wrote, Star Trek Voyager, Brooklyn South, Ally McBeal, ER, NYPD Blue, Boston Legal, Without a Trace, CSI, Ugly Betty, Dirty Sexy Money, and Raising the Bar.
Wow. That's some list.
And he played the father of Angelina Jolie's character in the television movie Gia.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of a big deal there.
It was, especially for other reasons. You know what I mean, Chico.
And we have Francine Tacker, who plays Annie McIntyre, and Francine Tacker is known as the second person to play Jenna Wade on Dallas. Of course, she was after Morgan Fairchild, but before Priscilla Presley.
Well, also, she was on The Paper Chase.
Yes, she was on The Paper Chase.
Yes, I was going to say before it went to Showtime back in around this time, around 83-ish.
I've heard the name of the paper chase. I don't know what the paper chase is about.
John Houseman.
John Houseman, law school. Enough said.
Okay.
As we yell at Greg for not knowing what paper chase is.
Goddamn classic.
Well, if you didn't watch so much damn Wings because you love it so much, you'd know what the paper chase is.
I know. Hey, guys, did you know I love Wings?
Oh, no! I opened that box. Oh, I need to shut Pandora's box. Oh, bad Mike. And really, that's like the regular cast. And actually,
there is one more person.
Okay.
And we talked about this person on a previous episode. Well, 2 previous episodes, actually. Randy Heller.
Yeah, I just think she's a guest. She just has a guest spot. I don't know why she's in the Wikipedia entry for some reason.
Yeah, taking a look at IMDb, the first 4 people we talked about were on at least 18 of the 19 episodes. I'm guessing the 19th is the pilot. Francine Tacker was only on 6 episodes.
I'm guessing
and from there on in, there were minor characters that were on 2 episodes, and then everybody else was on 1.
Well, the show itself was retooled, remember?
Yeah, probably.
Oh, you know what else was retooled? And we should have mentioned this at the start of the show.
What's that?
Okay, this show ran 18 weeks.
Oh, yeah. 18 weeks.
18 weeks, or 18 episodes.
18 episodes, yeah.
It had 3 different opening sequences.
It had 3 theme songs.
Yeah, three unique theme songs. Yes, 3 unique theme songs. The version that you heard at the start of the show, that was the theme song from episode 8 till the end of the series. I think that was a fair judgment to use the show, the version used for most of the episodes to introduce this episode. But the original theme song was used only for the first 5 episodes, and then a different theme song was used just for episodes 6 and 7. 3 theme songs and 18 episodes. Maybe that's part of the problem. They couldn't decide on a theme song for this darn show. But yeah, so what you're going to hear is you're going to hear the original open for the first 5 episodes. Then you'll hear the open for episodes 6 and 7. And I'm not going to repeat 8 through 18 because you've already heard that.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
theme is very good.
Oh, yeah.
The first theme is very good, and that's something that Greg and I talked about before we started recording the show. The first theme was the best of the 3. I don't know why they changed it, but then it got a little...
The second one's not bad.
But, yeah, like I said, it got gradually worse. The first was perfectly fine as is. The second was not bad, but it wasn't as good as the first one. And then the theme song they used for most of the episodes from episode 8 on is just goofy. I mean, almost like stereotypical goofy 80s sitcom music. I don't know if they were trying to...
No, I wouldn't say goofy 80s sitcom music. It sounds like
I would.
You're in like a 50s movie or something.
Well, the thing is, I'm wondering if they changed the theme song to sort of make it appear more like a comedy than, oh, look how offbeat Madeline is or something like that. That's the only reason I could see for using 3 different theme songs, or at least changing from what was used in the first 8 episodes to what we had. I mean, I don't get why they had the theme song for episodes 6 and 7, but maybe if they saw, we need to, for higher ratings, show that Madeline's goofy and unpredictable and use this goofy music.
She's very much Lucy-like.
You said you made the comparison to Lucy. Well, she does have something in common with Lucy. Her show was shown in reruns in the early 90s. I remember seeing this on USA back in the day. Well, remember, USA back in the day, they showed like all sorts of
everything
sitcoms. Oh, they showed Double Trouble. I think they showed It's Your Move.
It's Your Move, yes.
Yeah, It's Your Move. They showed this. They showed Madam's Place.
If I'm not mistaken, they may have shown Three's a Crowd.
Who hasn't shown Three's a Crowd at this point? Yeah, I remember it was going back to the Ropers. At one point in the first year or two of Antenna TV's existence, just like we mentioned last week, that when Three's Company got to the Ropers leaving, they also showed Ropers episodes to as well as Three's Company. When Three's Company reached the end of the road in 1984, what did they do? They showed the entire series of Three's a Crowd. Mind you, that was one season. Mind you, that probably would have taken a week and a half. But they gave you the entire canon, the entire legacy of Three's Company, showing both spin-offs and the original series.
In chronological order.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Well, guys, I think it's time to look at all 18 episodes, shall we?
Let's do this.
Yeah, absolutely. And one big thing is these episodes, you're going to hear a ton of guest stars. They were loaded with guest stars.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
And even in spite of that, it lasted 18 episodes. So, yes, sit back because there's going to be a lot of really big names. And might as well start at the top, guys.
Yeah. Episode 1. That was no lady. Madeline creates a mess when she is trapped in the bathroom of Doris's ex-husband during a clandestine mission to help Doris retrieve her diary. So yeah, Madeline's in like this situation where she's in the bathroom of Doris's ex-husband's house.
Which is just absolutely goofballs.
It's actually goofballs because Doris's ex-husband brings his new girlfriend into the bathroom while she's in the shower with a towel, and ooh, you won't believe what happens.
Yeah.
And one thing I've noticed is the director of all these episodes is a name we've mentioned in the past, J.D. LeBoux, who I've mentioned a number of times was highly connected with Soap. So this would have been about a year or two after Soap was canceled. But he's got quite a resume of shows, starting primarily with Soap. Actually, it started with Just Friends, the Stockard Channing show back in '79. But Madeline, Newhart, he did a number of episodes. It's a Living, and that would have been in the syndicated version. It wouldn't have been the original ABC version.
Right.
And Soul Train?
Soul Train?
62 episodes of Soul Train, according to IMDb. But we mentioned also...
Don Cornelius Soul Train?
No, some sort of rip-off Soul Train. Of course, Don Cornelius Soul Train. But also, we mentioned previously, he had directed Herman's Head, and actually... last show that he did more than one episode of was Dharma and Greg in the late 90s and early 2000s.
Okay.
Back before we knew what we know about Thomas Gibson. By the way, he's a jerk. Anyway.
Oh, wow. Spoilers, Chico.
Yeah, we needed spoiler space there.
Spoiler space. Greg brings shame on all other Gregs.
Oh.
Well, sort of like another Greg who I won't mention on the air. Episode 2, Mummy Dearest. At a masquerade party, Doris accuses Madeline of flirting with her ex-husband when she mistakes him for Charlie in a mummy costume.
Ooh, goofballs.
Yeah.
Absolute goofballs.
But we do have one guest star in this episode. Because playing a guest at the party is Liz Sheridan. And Liz Sheridan, you would best know for playing Jerry's mother on Seinfeld.
She also played Mrs. Achmonic on...
Yeah, I was going to say she played Mrs. Achmonic. What the heck is this? You might best know her as Seinfeld's mom.
Hey,
no,
everyone...
I know her as Mrs. Achmonic. Come on.
Hey, most people listening know her as Jerry's mom on Seinfeld.
Yeah, but real fans know her as Mrs. Achmonic on Alf.
I know her for both.
Oh, whatever, Mike.
You're not helping.
I didn't think I was, but whatever.
Episode 3, Portrait of the Artist with a Young Man. Madeline signs up for a pottery class and befriends a young student named Tony, played by Frank Lutz, unaware of his amorous intentions.
Ooh! By the way, Frank Lutz, he was also on a future installment with a young Allison Hannigan called Free Spirit.
Yes!
Oh,
Free
yes!
Spirit!
Yes.
A classic.
Oh, yeah.
A very young Allison Hannigan.
But we'll talk more about that later.
Yeah. By the way, that was like my stepmother's an Alien era Allison Hannigan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. That's a young Allison Hannigan at that point.
It's like, this is before Fool Us. This is before Buffy. This is before How I Met Your Mother.
Before American Pie.
Where she stuck a flute up her... Next episode, Greg!
All right.
Hello!
Episode 4, All the World's a Stage. Madeline tries to convince a new friend that her acting partner at the community playhouse is actually her husband.
Yeah, and actually one of the guests on this episode playing Mort is Lee Wilkoff, and we've mentioned his name before because he played Einstein on Delta House.
Oh!
What?
Yeah!
Oh.
And also, he had a regular role on the TV series Max Headroom. I don't think that was the HBO version. I think that was when it went to ABC, I believe.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's on the list, but Max Headroom is definitely on the list as an entity back in the 80s. I don't know if his TV show's on the list though.
Right.
All right.
But just throwing that out there. So yes,
Okay.
Somebody we've actually talked about makes an appearance here.
Episode 5, Book of Love. Madeline is shocked to find Charlie in a romantic pose with an actress played by Trisha Noble, whose memoirs recount her long-ago affair with him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I think
so
that deserves a woo.
Yeah, so in this episode, like, Madeline is like I believe an extra in a street gang in the movie that she's filming. She's the actress is filming in, and there's the part where like her husband goes to meet the actress, and she's like sneaking behind like a prop door.
Charlie! Oh, Charlie!
All right, let me get a look at you. All right, it's official. You look great.
You don't look too shabby yourself. And you got married, right? Her name is,
Madeline.
And what does she do? Is she in the arts, too?
Oh, no. She's saner than the rest of us.
Oh, hey, this is no place to talk. Let's go inside my trailer, okay?
Madeline!
Madeline? Your wife?
Yeah, what are you doing here?
Ah, hanging out with the gang.
Episode 6, to ski or not to ski. After she forces a reluctant Charlie to go on a ski weekend together, Madeline tries to keep him from finding out that she has injured her ankle in a skiing accident.
Oh.
That's about as worse as the time Aaron Boone injured his ACL playing pickup basketball.
Ow.
Ow.
Because remember, that's what happened. That led A-Rod to the Yankees.
Yes. Yes, I do.
Don't remind us.
Episode 7. Madeline acts forward at the retreat. After Madeline criticizes an egotistical novelist played by Jeffrey Tambor, he becomes passionately obsessed with her.
Oh, and Jeffrey Tambor isn't even the biggest guest. Well, he might be.
He might be the biggest guest at the time, but this was also the first acting role for a young ingenue by the name of Jennifer Tilly. And if you don't know who Jennifer Tilly is, Family Guy, the Chucky series, future installment Key West.
Or we'll just watch a poker show because she plays like every poker event.
Or just watch a poker show because she plays like every poker event.
Or the movie Bound with Gina Gershon, which was a very formative movie in my younger years.
Oh, there was another Gina Gershon movie I'm not going to talk about that was formative in my younger years.
Oh, duh.
Yeah, I'm talking about that one.
Yes. Of course he's talking about Flinch. Anyway.
No, I'm not.
Talking about Showgirls.
You're damn right I am. Oh, by the way, one time I met Joe Esterhaus, and I shook his hand and I said, "Thank you for Showgirls."
Oh, fun fact, you know who's also in Showgirls?
Elizabeth Berkley of previous installment Saved by the Bell Hawaiian Style.
No, that's not where I was going, Chico.
Kyle MacLachlan.
Yes!
Of Twin Peaks fame.
Yeah,
no, you see,
damn fine coffee, Greg.
Now you see, where was my mind going? Oh, I wasn't going in that direction. Oh, then you were going. No, she wasn't on Saved by the Bell the college years. Never mind.
But she does appear at the end of Saved by the Bell Wedding in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And she is and she's currently on Saved by the Bell on Peacock.
Yes.
And the overprotective guidance counselor / the overprotective mother of Jamie Spano.
Oh, yeah. Jamie Spano, Chico, he's not that bright.
He's dumb.
And I like that thus far in the episode, on our bingo board, we've crossed off everything goes back to Match Game Hollywood Squares, STTNG. We've got Twin Peaks.
Wings.
I think we're near a bingo, guys.
We got Wings.
Wings.
References to previous installments, references to future installments.
Oh, yeah. I think we may actually have a winner playing bingo at home, so we may have to cough up the $20 gift card to Bennigan's.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, episode 8, guys. Chances are.
Oh, wow.
Madeline believes that singer Johnny Mathis is actually a celebrity impersonator that Robert hired to perform at her high school reunion.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and obviously Johnny Mathis makes an appearance.
It's like, you know who else makes an appearance on this show?
Let's see if you match who I'm going to say.
Armin Shimmerman.
Wait, Quark from Deep Space Nine?
Quark from Deep Space Nine. And Star Trek The Next Generation before that.
Oh.
That's another box on your bingo cards, folks. Check it off.
DS9.
Ding!
We should have a winner in the next 2 or 3 episodes, I think.
If there's any winners out there, give us a call at the station. Anywho.
All right, Mike, what was it you were going to say?
I wasn't looking at Armin Shimmerman. There was another name that rang a bell, but
they weren't. I know who Paul Wilson is, and I know who Louise Sorel is.
Well, you see, Louise Sorel was the name that rang a bell, but she was primarily in a bunch of soap operas.
Yeah, among which would be Santa Barbara, which she had a starring role from 84 to 91 and won an Emmy, if I'm not mistaken. Paul Wilson was in It's Gary Shandling's Show, which I remember. I think it was It's Gary Shandling's Show.
That wasn't the one I was looking at. What I saw is he was in a show that you guys call back to all the time, Recess.
Oh,
Coach Kluge.
Okay. Yep.
But also the other one that caught my eye was he was on Cheers, 55 episodes as Paul Crappens.
Okay.
He was on Gary Shandling's show too. You're absolutely right about that. Leonard Smith, yes. And the thing is, if you see the face, you'll be like, I know that guy from somewhere. Well, where you know him from is either Gary Shandling's show or Cheers, because I remember him on Cheers after seeing a picture of him.
Yeah, I remember him from Cheers too.
I remember him from It's Gary Shandling's Show. For once, I'm the oddball.
No, I appreciate Gary Shandling's show, but I just remember him more from Cheers than Gary Shandling.
Okay. All right. What's the next one, Greg?
Episode 9, The Right Stuff. Because get it, the movie The Right Stuff is out at the same time.
Yeah.
Very timely too, because the Nat Geo series is on Disney Plus right now.
And it's awesome.
Yeah. Madeline ropes Doris into a wacky plan to retrieve every copy of a newspaper edition that she believes contains an article that is damaging to Charlie's career as a writer. Well, Madeline, don't worry, because in 40 years, nobody's going to read newspapers.
And I believe this would be the first episode of the new retooled Oh Madeline, if I'm not mistaken.
No,
I think we're...
I think you're one episode off, because remember, episode 8 had the third version of the theme song. That would make sense, where a retooled version of the show would come with a new retooled theme song. Or retooled open. So I think you're one episode off.
All right.
Pure speculation, though.
Okay.
Right.
Interesting.
But
go ahead, Mike. Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
No, I think you got it. I'm going to let you handle it.
Interesting guest shot. 2 or 3 years before head of the class, William G. Schilling.
Yes, and we mentioned William G. Schilling because he was a guest star in previous installment, Open All Night.
Open all night. Open all night.
Open all night. Open all night. So that's 2 appearances now for William G. Schilling on this podcast,
and probably the only time I get to mention Space Jam, because he was actually in the golfing scene.
He was in the He was in the golfing scene with Michael Jordan.
He was in the golfing scene with Michael Jordan and Wayne Knight and Bill Murray, all golfing.
What a friggin' foursome! You have the principal from head of the class with Bill Murray, Michael Jordan, and Newman.
That was the lost episode of the Last Dance right there.
Yeah, that would have been awesome if they had William G. Schilling in The Last Dance.
But unfortunately, William G. Schilling's no longer with us.
Yeah,
now.
I know. But they could have had some scenes on the cut. They probably could have had outtakes on the cutting room floor that they could have just spliced into The Last Dance.
Oh, but this is not the last time we're going to talk about William Schilling, because just a year later, he appears in 5 episodes of ER, not that ER, the one with George Clooney back in 1984.
I was also saying, it's like, you sure it wasn't not that ER?
No, E/R. The other one was just ER.
E/R with Jason Alexander and Elliot Gould.
Yeah, among other people, yes.
And George Clooney.
And some kid named George Clooney, absolutely.
He's got a nice mullet.
Oh,
hey,
yeah.
Did you know he worked on his dad's show, The Money Maze?
There's a previous installment. Ding!
Call back!
Well, we're going to have a reference to another future episode in the video, in episode 10, Sisters. Madeline's long-lost sister, Joyce, played by Melanie Chartoff, comes to visit and sets her romantic sights on Robert and Charlie. Now, Melanie Chartoff appears in future installment Fridays, but she's also notable for two things. First, she was the voice of Dee Dee Pickles on Rugrats, Chico.
I do know that.
And second, she was Chico.
Mm-hmm.
Say it.
Miss Musso.
In
Parker Lewis.
Can't lose.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
And we know why Parker Lewis can't lose.
Because he can't lose.
Can't
it's
lose.
right there in the name of the show, yeah.
Well, what would happen if Madeline Kahn went up against Parker Lewis? Who would win then?
Well, Parker Lewis would definitely win, because we all know he can't lose.
He's right. Anyway.
At best, Madeline Kahn would go to a draw with Parker Lewis, because he can't lose. Okay.
Right.
Episode 11. Wilderness. Madeline and Charlie end up in jail when they help an innocent-looking man while on a camping trip. Ooh. I can only guess why they ended up in jail.
Well, you know who threw him in jail?
Who?
Joe Regalbuto.
And you know who that name is. Seriously? I'm talking to Greg here. I'm not talking to our dear audience. He was Frank Fontana on Murphy Brown.
Oh, yeah, he was. He was Frank Fontana on Murphy Brown.
Yeah. But also another guest that we should talk about. Legendary voice, Frank Welker.
Man of a thousand voices, yes.
I think
we talked about him in the past. We talked about him on The Duck Factory, I believe.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Frank Welker, a legend in voiceovers.
It's like, if you don't know who Frank Welker is, what podcast are you even listening to?
Transformers, come on, people.
Come on, he was Scooby-Doo?
Scooby-Doo, he was in Winnie the Pooh. Come on.
Troll Hunters on Netflix?
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
many
right.
things.
Yeah.
But, buckle down, because this next episode, we've got somebody who guests who we talked about in previous installments, and an absolute legend. I'll just say that,
and we got
without further commentary.
And a major guest star later on in the episode.
So
okay.
we have a major guest star and a major legend.
Yeah. All right. Episode 12. Monday Night Madeline. Madeline becomes personally involved in a wrestling match after landing a job as a television sports commentator. So what happens is there's this television station that has changed formats, which will let basically anybody on the air.
Anybody.
So it's like public access, in other words.
Yeah, public access.
Mm-hmm.
So Madeline gets on the air, and she tries to become a news anchor at first. And
play the clip.
We're going to play the clip in a second. But I want to also note something about the open of the shows. I think this is specifically in the final version when it was retooled after the 7th episode.
Yeah.
They actually showed, at least on the versions on YouTube, which were, I'm presuming, syndicated prints, they actually showed kind of like spoilers, footage from the episode itself without any context, presumably just to show, oh, here's a funny bit or maybe the funniest bit. And this was the spoiler-ish segment they showed for this episode. And yeah, this, just roll the clip.
I'm Madeline Lane, and I would like a job. Nothing glamorous. Something behind the scenes. Mary Tyler Moore's old job would do quite nicely.
Want a fair chance? You audition like everyone else. Come around here and sit at the anchor desk.
Oh, my, looks like it's raining in Kansas. No, that's just a little bit of dirt. I'll just pass it right. Oh, there goes Kansas. Oh, my, that looks like the day after.
Yeah, so they referenced the day after.
That's not dark.
Apologies to the state of Kansas.
That's not dark at all.
Apologies to the state of Kansas and Braden Stoddard's sanity.
And we did sneak this into the preview for 2021. If you listen carefully to our little montage, we stuck that in there. But you know what? Even though we had a reference to The Day After, I don't think that even comes close to the two special guests we had in this episode. Well, I shouldn't say special, but the two guests we had in this episode.
Oh, yeah.
We mentioned one. It was a legend. Legendary.
But first, we got to mention the proprietor of the television station is somebody who mentioned in two previous episodes.
Yes.
Ernie Sabella.
Yes, of course. He of It's Your Move, of
Davis Rules.
Of course, Mr. Pumbaa from The Lion King.
And I think we've got to mention it. He was Mr. Carsey on Saved by the Bell.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he was the father of one of the girls.
He was the father of Leia Remini.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
But that wasn't the legend. Yes, Ernie Sabella is legendary, but that wasn't the legend.
Oh yeah, because playing the wrestling announcer, folks.
And this is true to life. This really is true to life. This isn't. He actually did this at one point.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dennis James.
Yes.
Yes.
And this was actually his second to last credit on IMDb. Apparently, about a year before he died, he was on a show called The Method, or maybe that's a movie called The Method. But yeah, this is like his last TV appearance, because he didn't do anything after the new Price is Right, I don't think.
No,
and he would have been off of that by 1977, I believe.
Yeah, and this was his. And you said it yourself. This was his penultimate role.
And his ultimate, his penultimate role, period, but his ultimate role on television, it appears.
Yeah. But I mean, this is just hilarious. He's like portraying a drunk wrestling announcer, and like he's got like a slide whistle for like the sound effects for when the wrestlers beat each other up.
Yeah.
This really is a great episode on so many levels.
Yeah.
If you watch any of them, and we should mention it right now, all 18 episodes are on YouTube.
Yeah.
Somebody who was wise beyond his years
30 years
ago when they were rerun on USA recorded all of them, and they're all on YouTube. So, yeah, this is, I would say, is our recommended episode because, the whole Dennis James thing, but also B, I'm sorry, the Day After joke might be one of the darkest jokes I've ever seen on a primetime TV show.
Yeah.
From that era, at least.
Yeah, I mean, if we did it now, people might not get it. But the thing is, that aired in 1983, so that's fresh on people's minds.
That's fresh on people's minds, and it was the highest rated TV movie of all, and it will always be the highest rated TV movie of all time because there's like 150 channels and there's streaming services, so nothing's ever going to top the ratings it got.
I don't know. The Jacksons and American Dream came close. Or was that a miniseries?
That was a miniseries.
Okay. Yeah, I'm too used to it airing as one gigantic movie on VH1. So.
Yeah.
By the way, that's a really good movie. You should watch it.
Anywho. And it has Billy D in it.
And it has Billy D.
And Barry Gordy.
And Angela Bassett. Lawrence, and Boyz II Men.
Boyz II Men. Come on.
Okay, you know what? That's for a future installment. Let's
Yeah. We could actually do that as a future installment possibly, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. By the way, guys, I got a question.
Uh-huh.
I wonder what Dave Meltzer rated the work rate in that wrestling match. Oh, he was like 2 stars, didn't happen at Budokan Hall. Work rate sucked. On his manual typewriter he used for the Observer back then. Episode 13, The Lady and the Lamp. Madeline panics when she wakes up in Robert's bed with a hangover and no recollection of what happened the night before.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no. That's not good.
Drunk Madeline had fun.
Oh, yeah. She was getting busy, I bet.
So she would have gotten busy with no one of any importance.
Yeah. So let's just go straight ahead to episode 14. Things that go bump in the night.
I thought we had this episode already.
Madeline makes a valiant effort to protect Robert from his girlfriend's jealous ex-boyfriend on the same night a burglar strikes.
I think I know who plays the ex-boyfriend on this episode.
Oh yeah. I'll mention it because I'm way ahead of you.
Somebody we talked about on this show before.
Oh yes. Oh, absolutely, indeed. We're talking about Patrick Collins. Where have you heard that name? He played Dave Noonan on Supertrain.
Oh,
yes.
Yep.
Yeah, I wouldn't lie to you.
That's great.
You know who else was on this episode?
Who?
Melanie Vince.
What's she known for?
She was one of the two models on the mid-'80s version of Let's Make a Deal.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Oh yeah, she's a really good actress on her own merits, and she mostly worked in the '80s though.
Yeah, I didn't even recognize her name. Wow, that's a good find.
And aside from Let's Make a Deal, her most noted role, adult DJ on Full House.
Oh,
jeez. Adult DJ. No.
Oh wait, and Mike?
I'm listening.
She was also on an episode of Night Court.
You can use your little dauber and stamp that off of your bingo card too. We're getting close to a bingo. I think the phones are starting to light up. We might be like 1 or 2 squares away from a winner.
And she was also on an episode of Automan.
Oh, jeez. Oh, my gosh. Hold on. The boards are lighting up. I think we have a winner.
We sure that somebody on this show wasn't on Manimal?
No. Nobody on this show was on Manimal, I don't think. Anyway.
Yeah, that might have been a conflict because that was the same season.
Unless they were using the same footage.
Episode 15, My Mother the Colonel. Madeline is shocked when she discovers her prim and proper mother, played by Geraldine Fitzgerald, had an affair with a stand-up comedian played by Bill Macy several years ago.
I wonder what Madeline's father, played by Ray Walston, has to say about this.
Oh,
yeah.
Listen to that. Two big guests, because everybody knows who Bill Macy is, or at least, again, if you're listening to this podcast, you should know. He played Walter Finley on Maude.
Yeah, he was
was
Maude.
Maude's husband.
Yeah. It's like we have Maude's husband, we have Martin the Martian, and we have Geraldine Fitzgerald, who is just old Hollywood legend. Oh my God.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
Do you think Geraldine Fitzgerald was the subject of an episode on future installment Hollywood Babylon with Tony Curtis?
Oh, God.
Now, you see, I was going to mention, when we're talking about Ray Walston, how can we not mention Mr. Hand?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mr.
I mean, seriously, yeah, we talk about My Favorite Martian, which is classic in and of itself, but how do we not mention him as Mr. Hand on Fast Times at Ridgemont High?
Yeah, that's probably what most people today would know him best as.
Yep.
Yeah, because I don't know many places that would rerun My Favorite Martian nowadays. I know I haven't seen it probably in 30 years.
Neither have I, and like you said, that show is just iconic. Why would you?
I do know Ray.
It had Bill Bixby, for heaven's sakes.
It did. I do know Ray Walston was in the movie version of My Favorite Martian with Jeff Daniels and Christopher Lloyd back in '99.
Because if I'm not mistaken, he would be doing Picket Fences concurrently.
No, Picket Fences would have been long done by '99.
Yeah, Picket Fences was done by '96.
Oh, my mistake. I spent all of my high school years watching Picket Fences, so they just kind of blur together there.
Hey, you know what? I don't blame you, because who doesn't love Five-ish Finkel?
Nobody doesn't love Five-ish Finkel.
Everybody should love Five-ish Finkel. I'm just saying. Just throwing that out there.
All right.
I just looked at the next episode, Greg.
Yeah. Yep. Episode 16, Ladies' Night Out. On a night out with Doris and Faye, Madeline dances with male strippers.
Zippers!
And then loses a fortune in money at a gambling casino.
Uh-oh.
And this is the episode with Randy Heller that we mentioned previously. But also, playing a gambler in this episode as a guest star, Robert Donner.
Yeah, he would have just been off of Mork and Mindy, so...
Yep. Yeah, Mork and Mindy would have been done 82.
Yep.
Well, okay, so... Okay, maybe not just, but a couple of years removed from Mork and Mindy. And, of course, we know him from Mork and Mindy as Exodore.
Yep. The odd alienist, yes.
Episode 17, Play Crystal for Me. Madeline disguises herself as a flamboyant author so she can appear on a TV talk show with a competing romance novelist played by Charles Ludlam, who is a man posing as a woman.
Because if you've ever seen Charles Ludlam, that's his thing. His thing is he's a man who poses as a woman. Unfortunately, I think this was his last role. No, this was not his last role. He was on several movies and TV shows after, but he sadly is no longer with us.
All right, so now we get to the final episode. Episode 18, A Little Fight Music. Faye invites Madeline to perform in a concert staged by the community theater, but Madeline gets stage fright and is unable to sing during the audition. Oh, that's not good.
Oh, you know who was in this episode?
Who?
Brandon Maggart, known for two things. One, his role as Lou Waters on the dim-witted older brother on Brothers, and two, being Fiona Apple's daddy.
Oh,
there's more than that. Excuse me, I'm sorry. He was George Eliot on Jennifer Slept Here.
Him too.
Which was like episode 3 or 4, I believe.
Yeah, the one I wasn't on.
The one you missed. But also he played Mike Donovan on, and I know this is on the list because I added it, Chicken Soup.
Woohoo!
Jackie Mason sitcom there, Greg. I knew you were going to say, well, what's Chicken Soup? That. But also, actually, he would have been done with Brothers by that time, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, I'm sure. But also, he sort of made an appearance. This is very loosey-goosey. On the It Lasted One Season Too Long episode, he played Uncle Dudley on the Married with Children episode called A Babe in Toyland, where he basically got fired from his children's TV show hosting gig, and Kelly replaced him, and the entire show was revamped.
Yep.
So there you go. And you can check off Married with Children off your bingo cards now, even though we got a winner like 5 minutes ago.
5 minutes ago, more like 20 minutes ago, Mike.
We have a winner. That's all I'm saying. And enjoy the $20 gift card to Bennigan's that expired back in 2004.
Thank you, Andy.
And that was that. Wait, that's it? That's all?
That's it.
That's 18, yeah.
Okay, guys, so that's the show. Now, let's get into the heart of it. What went wrong here?
Whenever something goes wrong, our first inclination is always look at the schedule. And the schedule had on Tuesdays, fall of 1983, Just Our Luck, Happy Days, Three's Company, Oh Madeline, and Heart to Heart. So it wouldn't have been that's a really good slot between Three's Company and Heart to Heart, except Three's Company and Heart to Heart would both be on the decline, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, both shows were in their last season.
It was up against
the CBS Tuesday Night Movie
and
Remington Steele
in the fall and Riptide during the winter.
That's another stamp on your bingo card.
You took it from me. You're darn right it's another stamp on your bingo card.
And also I'm looking at because it lasted from September to March. It didn't even make it to the May sweeps. I believe they just reran it until the summer when they put Hotel in that slot.
Yeah.
Which would be another show that premiered that season.
Yeah.
But it presumably was more popular than Madeline because it lasted forever until its cancellation, where Madeline just lasted the season.
Yeah. But, I mean, look at the future.
I'm looking at 2 future entries on this grid right now.
Yeah, Just for Luck and AKA Pablo. This ranked for the season 50th, tied with Different Strokes and Matt Houston. Now, Different Strokes would have definitely been on the decline at this point, starting around this year, 83, 84.
Yeah, when your kids are growing up to be teenagers, it starts to get kind of awkward, and then you have the kids on Different Strokes, even more awkward.
Yeah, and Matt Houston would have been in its second season at that point because it lasted 3 years.
But also about Different Strokes, please, let's remember that 83, 84 was the last season we had Nidra Vols on there. Stamp off another part of your bingo card.
That old bag.
Oh, shut up. So anywho, yeah, you had Different Strokes, which was the show on the decline that I mentioned earlier. And Matt Houston, I mean, that had a decent run. I mean, it wasn't anything that
3 years.
We're going to put on one of the best shows of all time. So, yeah, maybe they just got into desperate mode with the retooling and all that, and it just wasn't worth saving. But, again, it had comparable ratings to, one of the great sitcoms from that era, albeit, slumping at that point.
Yeah, and I'm thinking I'm thinking of myself, and I'm looking at everything that's going on in the late 70s and early 80s. One of the big things was, if we needed a hit sitcom, let's take a British hit sitcom and Americanize it. We had Archie Bunker, Three's Company, All in the Family.
Too Close for Comfort.
Too Close for Comfort.
We talked about the Ropers last week.
We did talk about them, and that just needs to be a thing. Oh, Three's a Crowd. So it reads to me like there was absolutely no thought put into the development of this show. It's like, okay, let's put Madeline Kahn in the most wackiest of hijinks imaginable. And there was really no thought about it. There's no thought.
No. But I will say, Madeline Kahn, she was great on this show.
Oh, she was totally great on this show.
Yep. But remember, about a year later, Madeline Kahn would be in her most famous role in Clue.
As Mrs. White.
Yep.
Yeah. And one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's time for eBay Price is Right.
Oh, boy.
Oh, good.
Oh, good. That's the first time you said, oh, good for eBay Price is Right ever.
Well, because it's Madeline, so...
I can't. You know what, Mike? I can't wait to see what you found for this.
What it is, and this is a little different. It's a photo. We've done plenty of press photos of. We talked about the Ropers last week with Helen Roper feeding Stanley grapes and stuff like that. This one's a little different. This is a photo, apparently. It's listed as a photo, and it's 7x9, so it's a little smaller than 8x10. And what it is simply an image on photo paper of the Madeline logo.
Okay.
It has the Madeline logo, not as it appears on screen. So this was like a logo that was used in print, and actually seeing some ads in newspapers and TV Guide for Madeline. I have seen this before. So this wasn't like something that was never used. It was used, looked like on TV Guide. and it just says "Oh Madeline," starring Madeline Kahn. It's black and white. It's very basic, very generic, but it is on eBay right now as a buy it now item. And as always, I would love to know the buy it now price in dollars and cents. And I think we started with Greg last time, so I'm going to start with Chico.
Okay. I'm going to go $12.50 on this.
$12.50. Okay, Greg.
$13.
Ooh, you're a tricky son of a gun. Well, if you want this Oh Madeline print logo, sit down, guys. $27.99.
Oh.
What? You heard the man. $27.99.
I was thinking about going $9.99, but wow.
That was, I thought I overshot it. I honestly did.
I was considering either $9.99 or 1 penny.
And now you know why I chose that item. Because when I saw the price, it's like, yeah, you guys are going to undershoot this. You're going to underestimate this by so much. So it's like, yeah, $27.99 for a logo. You guys are going to be like, no, absolutely not. But there it is, $27.99 for a print O Madeline logo on photo paper 7x9, or at least what appears to be photo paper. And they've got the link. They've seen it. And yeah, it's actually real.
Oh yeah, that is real, all right.
Real expensive is what it is.
Real.
That's the only real. That's the only real it is. I'm sorry.
Yeah, from the same seller, I could buy an ABC News Brief logo for $24.99.
Hey, that looks pretty cool. I might want to buy that.
Oh yeah, I would too. That probably went up anytime Frank Reynolds had like a breaking scoop.
And that Oh Madeline logo looks very 50s. I'm sorry. That logo that seller was selling.
Yeah, I'm looking at the logo, and it's like that's sort of the logo they used in the print ads. That's not like the photo they used in show.
Right? Yeah, that's why I mentioned earlier. Yeah, it's
the
it's
photo
definitely was used in
is,
print ads.
Yeah. Well, that's Oh Madeline. And it was goofy. It was actually incredibly goofy, but not goofy enough to last more than a season. So, in 1984, it was a thing on TV.
Yep.
And it had a ton of great guest stars, not just present guest stars at that time, but people who'd go on to pretty big roles.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Joe Rigglebudo.
Jennifer Tilly.
Ernie
Absolutely,
Sabella.
Jennifer Tilly, yes. Absolutely.
Ernie Sabella, as I mentioned.
Wow!
This is incredible!
Not so incredible as what happened next. After we all split up again, I went upstairs with you. Yes, you, Mrs. White. And while I was in the master bedroom, you hurried downstairs and turned off the electricity, got the rope from the open cupboard, and throttled Yvette. You were jealous that your husband was stopping Yvette. That's why you killed him, too.
Yes. Yes, I did it. I killed Yvette. I hated her so much. Flames on the side of my face, heaving breath.
It's Atari's video game Defender.
I played on ColecoVision.
Activision.
I played on ColecoVision.
Mattel's M Network and Imagic.
We played them on ColecoVision.
Introducing ColecoVision's first expansion module that lets you play all Atari 2600 compatible cartridges. And with all of ColecoVision's cartridges, that means you can play more games than any other video game system. It's simple. You can play Atari 2600 cartridges on ColecoVision, but you can't play ColecoVision on Atari. Your vision is our vision. ColecoVision.
Burlington weaves its way through your life with luxurious towels for the bath, designer sheets for the bed, thermal draperies to keep you warmer in winter, cooler in summer, beautifully finished handcrafted all-wood furniture, and simply sensational BioFresh carpets in luscious shades. All made better by Burlington.
Business. To be in the picture, you've got to be good.
Good and fast, like Canon's NP300F. 30 letter-sized copies a minute.
You got to give and take.
Canon's 300F gives you reduction and document feeding. Even sorts it all out with optional sorter.
In today's leaner, trimmer business picture,
You need the good stuff.
and nothing but the Canon NP300F. Call toll-free for information or see your authorized Canon dealer.
Monday, you're in for a shocker when Patty lets Sydney's dark secret out of the closet. You told.
I'm yours. Let's talk dirty.
Love Sydney. Then it's a family feud when Valerie can't keep up with Alex.
Maybe there's some kind of therapy group you can join for Sisters of Geniuses.
Family Ties.
Monday's terrific on NBC.
Something new is about to happen. That's what fresh sounds like. It's Maxwell House coffee in the new vacuum-packed bag. So much fresher you can hear it. So much fresher you have to taste it.
Great.
Maxwell House in the new vacuum-packed bag for freshness that speaks for itself.
Back to the show.
Episode 127, submission number 1011, Trivia Trap. Trivia Trap aired on ABC Daytime from October 8th, 1984 to April 5th, 1985 for 128 episodes.
Here comes the fascinating world of trivia, where even a right answer can catch you in a trap. On Trivia Trap. Here's the host of Trivia Trap, Bob Eubanks.
Ah, the 1980s. What was the new hotness in family get-togethers during the 1980s?
Oh, that would be Trivial Pursuit.
That would be Trivial Pursuit. The brainchild of a couple guys who had pieces missing from other board games, and they used those pieces to make this one. And it made them a whole lot of money.
Yeah? And now it's making Hasbro a whole lot of money.
Yep. Of course, I'm speaking of Chris Haney and Scott Abbott of Montreal, Canada.
Yeah. And we'll be talking about Trivial Pursuit later this year because Trivial Pursuit is going to be a subject in a future episode, specifically the Wink Martindale version from the 1990s.
But we're not going to talk about Trivial Pursuit. We're just going to talk about trivia in general. Because with the advent of Trivial Pursuit comes a thirst, I should say, for a good old-fashioned quiz show.
Yeah. Because around this time, 1985, we would already had Jeopardy back in its first season. Back. This time, it would be heading into its second season.
Yep. Joker's Wild and Tic-Tac-Toe would be on the decline, but still putting up really big numbers for syndication at the time.
And I think we'd be remiss if we didn't mention Sale of the Century, because this was around the time that Sale of the Century was beginning its syndicated version, but also, obviously, it was going very strong on NBC at the time.
But, yeah, it seems like you couldn't throw a rock in the early to mid-'80s and not hit a good old-fashioned trivia-based quiz show. I love blockbusters myself. Anyway, so ABC, it seems like ABC was the only one who didn't have a quiz show on the schedule. NBC had Sale of the Century. There was syndicated Joker's Wild, Tic-Tac-Toe, and Jeopardy. I'm pretty sure CBS had CBS had Press Your Luck, which
not that that's much of a quiz, but
not that much of a quiz, but those spins had to come from somewhere. ABC was the only one that did not have a quiz show on the air at the time. All they had was Family Feud, and that was pretty much it.
And in terms of game shows, I think that it was pretty much it on ABC. After the $20,000 Pyramid was canceled back in 1980, I think it was just Family Feud, and then you had Happy Days reruns and Laverne and Shirley reruns and other reruns.
Benson reruns.
Yeah, I think Love Boat reran at some point in the morning. Yeah, so you didn't have any game shows on ABC besides Family Feud, and if you were like me and lived in a market that didn't even show Family Feud after like 78, 79, you had no game shows from ABC at that point. And that was actually the way it was in Cleveland. We never had Feud after, I think, 79 or 80. We never got Trivia Trap. We never got Bruce Forsyth's Hot Streak, Oh Future Installment. And we never got...
All-Star Blitz? Did you get All-Star Blitz?
No, those we saw on USA
Magic Game
reruns.
90? Magic Game
No,
90?
they had to pull in the rabbit ears from to pull the Akron station for that. And also, I should mention Bargain Hunters because it sucked.
Yeah.
But yeah, had to use the old rabbit ears for that too.
So ABC, I guess, was looking for something to replace insert reruns here. In fact, I believe it was it was Benson's Celebrity Family Feud. Yeah. And it came out at a time when when Family Feud was on the wane, and the new hotness, as much as you want to call it the new hotness, was CBS's The Price is Right and NBC's Wheel of Fortune. ABC wanted to be competitive in that time slot, so they called up Mark Goodson Productions, and along with Chester Feldman and Mark Goodson and son Jonathan Goodson, they came up with Trivia Trap, which I guess the best way you can describe it in one phrase is a quiz show in reverse. Not like that. Not like that. Not like that. It would be a quiz show in which you would have to pick out the wrong answers. Now, we'll get to why that was a fundamental flaw in a moment, but let's talk about how this got on the air. ABC commissioned the pilot, and Bob Eubanks was host of the pilot. They liked it and commissioned a series of episodes. But a few things changed. Obviously, the set changed, and everybody was dressed as they normally would for a quiz show, including Bob Eubanks. When the show went to series, everybody wore matching sweaters.
Because that was a thing by 85.
Everybody with the matching preppy sweaters? Yeah, I suppose that would have been classic 80s.
Well, plus also the studios are so cold. You got to wear a sweater.
Yeah. You got to wear a sweater. Plus, I think it made Bob Eubanks appear more warm, more approachable, but let's be honest, it's Bob freaking Eubanks. He's approachable enough.
Yeah.
And more cool. Okay, I'm just going to say that. Yes, Bob Eubanks may have been in his mid-40s at that point, or late 40s, but yeah, the sweater made him look cool. I'm thinking like Dick Clark on American Bandstand.
Oh yeah, definitely. He definitely had that Dick Clark American Bandstand, like 50s vibe there.
So how did the game work? Well, there were actually two versions of this game. First version had 2 rounds in which you had 4 choices of answer to a question. You had to pick the wrong answers, all 3 of them, and the more wrong answers you picked, the more money you got. It was 50 for eliminating 1 wrong answer, 100 for eliminating 2, and then 300 for eliminating all 3.
And when we say you, we should mean that's the plural version of you.
Yeah.
Because there were teams of 3.
Yes.
So person 1 would pick an answer, then person 2, then person 3. It wouldn't be just one person making all the choices.
Yeah. And interesting thing about the teams, we had sort of a battle of the ages concept at work here. We had one team of juniors, which were people who were 30 and under, and one team of seniors, which was a team of 30 and older. Now I'm 40. I'll be 41 next week. Would you honestly put me on a team of seniors? I mean, I would stick out like a sore thumb, and not for the obvious reasons.
Yeah, I mean, this whole concept does not make any sense in theory.
Yeah, I mean, you really shouldn't be technically a senior until you have a gray hair pop up on your head. And are you trying to admit something? Because I was going to say, I've known you for some time, and I have not seen a speck of gray on your pate.
Oh, I don't have a speck of gray on my pate. I don't have a speck of gray anywhere except for my chinny chin. You see.
Well, there's gray. That's gray. That's gray. So you just outed yourself as a senior, buddy.
This is not a secret. I told you.
But hey, I'll admit the same thing. I'm 45 years old. I've had little gray hairs pop up on my chinny chin and above my lip and other places in my nose.
Oh, God.
Why did I have to hear that, buddy?
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like a senior. Well, maybe I do, given the last 3 months, what's going on in my life. But now I totally get what you mean. But also at the same time, if they said seniors had to be, say, 50 or older or 60 or older, people wouldn't want to watch people that old necessarily, I don't think, because obviously, the younger ratings draw viewers. So, yeah, why not make the cutoff for seniors 30 instead of 50 or 60? Because, I mean, we know the mind starts going at a certain age, and maybe it's an unfair advantage if you have people 50 and 60 versus 30 and 40-year-olds. Not always, I'm saying, but yeah.
Some of our minds are gone right now.
And you complained about me talking about my gray nose hairs?
Okay, so each team played 2 of those questions in the first 2 rounds. And if nobody has reached $1,000 by that point, then we would play the $1,000 trivia race.
The first 10 questions were worth $100. After 10 questions were played, they were doubled to $200.
And the trivia race was played to $1,000. The team who got to 1,000 first wins the game, keeps their money, and goes to chase the pot of gold in the $10,000 trivia ladder. In the $10,000 trivia ladder, you were placed in accordance with how well you did during the trivia race. And you had to answer one of 3 questions individually. Contestant number 1, the best performer of the trivia race, had 4 answers, and they decided whether they wanted to play the question or pass the question. If they passed, contestant 2 gets the question. If contestant 2 passed, then contestant 3 had to play the question. And whoever answers the question, whoever has control of the question and answers it correctly, wins $1,000. And they go on to the final rung of the trivia ladder. Then you have another question. Play continues as before. And then you have a third question. Play continues as before. So, and the survivors of those 3 questions go on to the final rung in the trivia ladder worth $10,000.
Split evenly, we should add.
Split evenly, yes.
Not $10,000 for anybody who wins it. It's split evenly. It's
yes.
Not killing the budget.
Right. So, the host read the final question and 4 possible answers. Each contestant who was in for the money recorded an answer. If one of them answered it correctly, they win the $10,000. If 2 answered correctly, they split the $10,000, $5,000 each. If all 3 answered the question correctly, they split the $10,000, $3,333.33 each. If no one answered it correctly, then obviously no one wins anything. In fact, if nobody answers their individual question correctly, the $10,000 question isn't even played. Any team that played the trivia ladder 5 times retired as an undefeated grand champion.
And we should add, regardless of how you do on the top of the trivia ladder, your $1,000 is not at risk. You get to keep that.
That is yours to keep no matter what happens.
The $10,000 is a bonus on top of that.
Yep. If you play it absolutely perfectly, you could walk out with $11,000. But no matter how you did on the trivia ladder, you would come back on the next show to defend your title.
Oh, but no, it's more than $11,000 because you split 3 ways the money in the front game.
Yep.
That ain't points. That's money. So
I know.
So you could win possibly $11,400. Yeah, if you get to $1,200. Well, you couldn't get to $1,200. Yeah, you couldn't get to $1,200 because the $1,000 race. You could max out at $1,150, but still the maximum you could win is like $11,366 or $383. Or I'm off the clock. I'm not doing the math.
Okay. Well, while you go over the change in format, because there was a change in format, I'll do the math while you go over the change in format, because according to a focus group from the American Film Institute, eliminating wrong answers was a format flaw. And this can be found in David Baber's television game show host biographies of 32 Stars. You can read more about it.
So they saw that as a flaw. Interesting.
They did.
Because I mean that was the key selling point on this game was it's not the correct answers that you want to pick, it's the incorrect answers. So if they say it's a flaw, now we're just going back to a regular old question and answer trivia game where you've got to give right answers.
And that's not fun.
No,
and that's exactly what it is. It's not fun. You're absolutely right.
And interesting you mentioned that. And by the way, I did the math that if you have a perfect game, the most you could win is $11,383.33.
Yeah, and I think, well, I know people have won the 10,000 and the 1,000, so I don't know if they've ever reached that hypothetical maximum, but if not, they were within probably $50 of it.
Yeah. So they retooled the format on December 17th, 1984. They overhauled the first 2 rounds. The first round was called Fact or Fiction, in which you had 2 packets. You chose a packet. Each team member was asked 1 question worth $25. And after all 3 team members had answered their questions, the challengers played the other packet. And then you'd play another packet of questions. And that would be the first round. It's basically, is that a true fact or a false fact?
Boy, that sounds so alluring compared to the first format.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You want to talk about alluring? Here's the second round. It's called the Trivia Trap Round. The team in the lead, or if there was a tie, the champions, would play a choice of 2 categories. After the category was chosen, the host would ask a question with 4 possible answers. 1 contestant answered, and then each of the other 2 had to agree or disagree on that answer. If all 3 agreed, it would be worth $200. If 1 contestant disagreed, it would be worth $100. And if 2 disagreed, it would be worth $50. If the original answer was incorrect, and any contestants disagreed with it, they had a chance to choose the correct answer and have the other 2 players agree or disagree on it. And there were 2 pairs of categories in that round.
Again, format neutered. Well, there's no trap in play. It's called Trivia Trap. What's the trap now? The original trap was...
I guess it's more of a psychological trap. It's like, is this the correct answer? Yes? No? It's a psychological trap. Now I'm stretching the definition of the word trap here, but yeah.
But you know what? Guess what?
What?
You know what it still is?
It's a trap! It's still a trap, yeah.
Thanks, Akbar.
It's a trap!
And after that round, you have the trivia race, as played just as before. And of course, the first team to reach $1,000 goes on to play for the pot of gold in the trivia ladder. And that was played at the same as before.
Well, what happened? Well, I think Chico said what happened. It was up against Wheel of Fortune and the first half hour of Price is Right. Yeah, sorry, you're not getting ratings. And it didn't help that it is preempted in some markets. As I said, Cleveland didn't really have any ABC game shows after like 1979, 1980. So, yeah, we didn't get it. We'd have to use the old rabbit ears and pick it up from Akron. And, yeah, that not a lot of people are doing that in 1984 and 85 when cable is really sort of booming at this point.
And I vaguely remember watching this back when it was live because, what was this, 1984? I would have been a precocious 4-year-old living in Kansas City at the time. And
this would have been what, KMBC?
Yes, KMBC in Kansas City.
With Larry Moore, baby. And Len Dawson.
Oh, yeah. Actually, Len Dawson probably would have still be doing Inside the NFL on HBO. Anyway.
Well, you also would have been doing the sports, I think, at KMBC also on the side.
Oh, I know. So, that happened. Well, what else can we say about this? Because that was really the crux of the show was just people answering questions. Especially after they switched up the format, the crux of the show was people answering questions.
Well, you know what we can talk about, guys? There were some celebrity episodes. The last week specifically was an all-celebrity week. They played for the entire week for charity. But there was also a soap opera week. You had Brian Patrick Clark playing, Stuart Damon, Emma Samms, and gosh knows they played their fair share of games at that time, from Hollywood Squares to Match Game 90. Even Brian Patrick Clark, we can go back to Match Game PM. Or back in the 80s, the syndicated Match Game 2.
Mm-hmm.
But no, the last week of episodes was a celebrity week, and listen to this lineup. They didn't play seniors versus juniors. This was Battle of the Sexes, men versus women. For the women, you had Betty White, and what can't we say about her? Jane Meadows, same. And Vicki Lawrence, also the same. We 3 legends. We have 3 equally legendary people on the men's side. We have Jamie Farr, we have Bill Cullen, and we have our favorite, Tom Poston.
What? What's going on, guys?
Never mind.
He was still in his coma from Match Game Hollywood Squares.
Obviously.
Yeah, I was still in my coma.
Some would argue that he would have been in his coma through Newhart. But yeah, and I'll tell you something else. Trivia Trap has the distinction of being the last original format developed by Mark Goodson Productions before they were acquired by Fremantle Media.
Well, no, they were first acquired by All American.
Yeah, they were acquired by All American. All American was acquired by Pearson, and Pearson was acquired by the RTL and rebranded as Fremantle Media.
Yep.
And now you know the complete history of the acquisitions of Mark Goodson, Bill Todman Productions.
Well, now we should add, it wasn't the last original format. It may have been the last original format to go to air.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know where I'm going.
Hey, you're going one place, I'm going another one.
Potentially. What I was going to say is during Pilot Month this month, we're going to talk about one of the formats. And I think this was actually the last format Mark Goodson did. Original format, I should say. Before his
death, actually.
Yeah. We're going to talk about TKO.
Yep.
TKO with Peter Tomarkin.
Yep, and
Yes.
I'll just a preview. Yes, it does look like something. Just saying.
But we should also mention after Trivia Trap was canceled, ABC, thank heavens, didn't replace it with another sitcom rerun or Love Boat reruns, or half of Love Boat reruns, we should say, because Love Boat reruns would be an hour. They actually replaced it with another game show. One of my favorites, even though I didn't see it in its original run.
I grew up watching that show.
This was the first thing I saw on cable, a USA rerun of All-Star Blitz.
All-Star Blitz.
But yeah,
I love All-Star Blitz.
But
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Do you love All-Star Blitz as much as you love Wings?
Hey, All-Star Blitz made Peter Marshall's career.
No, it didn't. Hollywood Squares made Peter Marshall's career. We all know that.
Hey,
Shut up, that's the joke.
And then there was another format that Goodson created after Trivia Trap that didn't make it to series. It was On a Roll, which was basically David Sparks, the Double Mint Twins, a pair of dice, and something that looked like a rejected Wheel of Fortune board.
Yeah, pretty much.
Really weird pilot. Yeah, it was weird. It was different.
Honestly, if I'm editorializing here, the last good original Goodson Todman format, Blockbusters.
Yeah, I kind of like Child's Play.
Now, you see, I like TKO, the Unsold Pilot.
Well, I liked it too, but yeah, it looked like another quiz show I watched back in the day.
Well, it looked a lot like that other quiz show you're talking, but also it had a little bit of Blockbusters with it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I can see it.
But I give you the point there. I think Blockbusters was the last good format. Not saying Child's Play isn't good. It's just Blockbusters is better.
It is a better show, I will admit.
But Fremantle did dive back into the Child's Play well for Dame la Pista for Telefutura. Or now Unimas, so.
Ooh, Unimas.
Unimas.
Sounds exotic.
Yeah, Unimas. Another thing, while we're on the subject of originality, they called from a lot of sources to do the sound package for Trivia Trap. One of them would be the end of the theme music for Family Feud.
Yeah, that's a sound effect that was used pretty much for a correct answer at any point, in terms of eliminating all the wrong answers and leaving the right answer, or on the trivia ladder getting a correct answer. Yeah, that wouldn't be used in the $1,000 race, but yeah, they used that a lot. And actually, if you hit the Trivia Trap, got the wrong answer, they'd use the sound effect when you get a wrong number on Pathfinder on Price is Right. That, exactly.
And they would also use, I believe, when you're locking in a correct answer, or when you're locking in one of the wrong answers, I should say, because remember, this is a quiz show in reverse. When you're locking in one of the wrong answers, one of the correct cues is the classic concentration panel reveal cue.
Oh.
Yeah, you're right. Yes.
And the answer reveal was used as the answer reveal on Fast Money on Family Feud from 1988 to today.
Yeah.
This gave to a lot of games, and it also took from a couple of games. Mostly within, of course, the Goodson Todman library. But, again, the show itself was nothing notable. I mean, especially after the format change, it was nothing really notable. Give every credit in the world to Mark Goodson Productions for trying to create something different. But it was up against Wheel of Fortune and The Price is Right. It was not going anywhere.
I think it's lucky it got 6 months and not just 3.
Yep.
Going up against that type of competition.
But Bob Eubanks wouldn't be out of work for long.
No.
Because he's freaking Bob Eubanks.
Yeah.
And B, because he would be hosting 2 shows within 2 years.
That's right.
Not even 2 years.
I was like,
within 1 year.
Yeah, because he would be hosting the revived version of Card Sharks on CBS in January of '86.
Yes, and he would also, within 1 year, That's right, within not even 1 year, more like 8 months.
Yeah.
Because he would be hosting Card Sharks for CBS, and he would also be hosting the new Newlywed Game in syndication.
And I think we'd be remiss if we didn't mention that earlier this week, or last week when you heard the show, was the 35th anniversary of the debut of Card Sharks, the CBS version.
Yes.
That show does not look like it's 35 years old. I'm sorry.
No.
That does not show its age terribly much.
Hey, it's like Card Sharks is a game for the ages. I mean, look at the 78 version. Look at the 86 version. Look at the 2019 version. We don't talk about the 2001 version.
No.
Well, I was just talking about from an aging standpoint. That does not look like it's 35 years old. Except for maybe the Chiron or some of the graphics they use. But that looks
and
a lot
hair.
more current.
Do not forget the hair.
Yeah, well, the hair too. It's the 80s. I get it. But that does look a lot less dated than the original version of Card Sharks.
Yes, because the Perry version is definitely late 70s, early 80s. You can tell.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Check out the hair and the clothes, especially the late great Alex Trebek with that leisure suit and that tight fro of his.
Oh, on the Game Show Host Week episode?
Yes, on the Game Show Host Week episode. You want to talk about GQ? Oh, yeah. We miss you, Alex. Anyway.
Yeah. So what do we got to say about Trivia Trap? It had trivia, and it had traps.
Either the physical or the psychological kind. But you know what you are when you go up against Wheel of Fortune and The Price is Right?
You're a thing on TV.
Mm-hmm.
And also didn't help when certain markets were not showing your show.
No, it did not.
No.
Tell you what, though. That theme song is a banger.
I'm mixed on it. It's not my favorite.
You know, hey, but you know what is my favorite?
I got it. Would it be It Was a Thing on TV.com?
Yes! It was a thing on TV.com where we have all of our episodes, all of our minisodes, all of our live shows, and all of the links to our socials at It Was a Thing on TV. And of course, you can hear all of this great content wherever fine podcasts are streamed. Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, Pandora, Apple Store, anywhere fine podcasts are streamed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're on the YouTube, ring my bell for future content. And don't forget, 5 stars only. 5 stars only. We don't watch this sort of... Actually, we would watch this sort of crap anyway, but we don't watch and break down Trivia Trap for less than 4 stars. No.
Chica, we haven't had a review on Apple Podcasts in like 4 months. I know you're trying, but come on,
God
guys.
bless me, I'm trying.
Come on, guys. Give us a review on Apple Podcasts, please. How many seconds will it take off your life? Come on.
But while they sell their soul for stars, next week.
Oh, yeah. Hold up, guys. I have an idea, folks.
Uh-huh.
For this year, I got an idea. So we're going to have... I did mention this at the start of the year. I'm going to mention it now. We're going to have an idea we're going to have for one episode. We're going to put aside for the week of our birthdays, and we're going to cash it in Money in the Bank style.
I'm going to cash in my Money in the Bank's pick.
Really? Why?
Because it's my birthday next week.
Oh. Okay. So what are we doing next week for that spot?
Next week... I believe next week will be our very first foray into Saturday morning.
No, it's not our first foray into Saturday morning because we covered Lidsville.
Oh,
that's right, because he wasn't here for that.
Okay, so next week, ABC had Pac-Man. You want to know what CBS did in response?
What'd they do in response?
It wasn't Muppet Babies.
No, it wasn't Muppet Babies.
It wasn't Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling.
It wasn't Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling. They got all the arcade games.
Wow.
Now, all the arcade games or all the good arcade games?
All the good arcade games. And a couple of the bad ones.
Oh.
They got them all.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about, and I believe this is a first.
This is the first, because for the first time ever, we're going to be talking about a television station that doesn't exist anymore.
A television station doesn't exist anymore?
Yes. And would you believe, guys, that this station is not even located on the mainland? It's not even located in Hawaii. It's not even located in Alaska.
Where in the world is it located?
The U.S. Virgin Islands.
Now, okay, you had my attention. Now you have my interest.
Yes. And we're going to talk about those two things next week, right here on It Was a Thing on TV. Thanks for listening. We'll see you here next week. Row!
Admiral, we've got enemy ships in Sector 47.
It's a trap! It's a trap! Also, whose cat? Someone get your cat.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
PlayStation Nation's JT Rosero and Chad Campbell here. We want to let you know that we have over 24 podcasts available on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and PlayStation.com. We now offer them to you on 2 great feeds. On the PlayStation Wrestling feed, we dive into topics running the gamut from today's WWE to the glory days of yesteryear and the ins and outs of the territory days. In addition to our full-length shows, we also deliver to you special pod blasts on topics old and new.
The Place to Be Nation Pop feed is a veritable treasure trove of great content. Offered tremendous shows covering the land of movies, television, life, comics, and sports, brought to you by the most knowledgeable and insightful folks in the podcast world.
You can find all these great shows, plus archives of our past podcasts from over the past 8 years as well by subscribing to both feeds on iTunes. And while you're there, be sure to rate and leave feedback as well. All of these shows, plus others, available on PlayStation.com, where we cover pro wrestling, sports, movies, comics, plus in-depth search projects, and much more. Be sure to support our site by using www.PlayStation.com/Amazon when doing your online shopping. And we want to thank our friends at Boneheads Wing Bar, ProWrestlingOnly.com, and thehistoryofwrestling.com as well. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr. PlayStation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Minisode 4, submission 1715. Don Johnson's Heartbeat music video. Don Johnson's Heartbeat music video was a music video released for Don Johnson's album titled, what else? Heartbeat, which was released on November 11th, 1986. Well, guys, the 1980s were filled with a lot of pop, and this was the era of MTV.
This was the gateway between the original 5 and sort of the new class, plus more original programming, let's say. We have the Club MTVs, your Remote Controlses, Turn It Upses, your Monkeys reruns.
Oh, the Monkeys. Can't forget about the Monkeys.
This was MTV at a crossroads, let's say.
But you know what? The 1980s also, we had just about anybody was doing a music album at this point. Because Bruce Willis had his music album.
Eddie Murphy had Party All the Time.
Party All the Time, which of course was the theme song to the syndicated show Pro Wrestling This Week, which I have to submit it eventually one day. But what celebrity who was big time in 1986 was getting into the music game? One of the hottest TV actors in 1986, Don Johnson.
Nothing was bigger on television than Miami Vice. And of course, legendarily, I don't know how true this is, but legendarily, Miami Vice was pitched as MTV Cops.
Yes, MTV Cops.
So it makes sense that one of the MTV Cops makes something that would be on MTV.
So Don Johnson decides, I'm going to release a music album. And then he then comes out with this, the music video for his old album, Heartbeat, which we found out right before we recorded was originally recorded by Helen Reddy.
We want to talk about 1980s being ripe for comebacks. Here's one.
Yeah. And also, Mike, you wanted to mention something about Helen Reddy.
Well, of course, since we have people whose bingo cards from 2 episodes aren't filled, here's another Match Game Hollywood Squares mention. She was on a week of Match Game Hollywood Squares.
Yeah. All right, so do we want to watch this music video?
Let's fire it up. Let's do it.
All right, let's hit the screen share, and here we go. Oh, look, we got the Empire State Building here.
Yep. There's Don Johnson looking cool as ever.
Yeah.
Unbuttoned t-shirt, or not unbuttoned t-shirt, unbuttoned shirt.
Unbuttoned shirt, tank top.
Don't walk.
And there we go.
This halfway looking at the camera.
It's like, don't mind me. I'm just here singing.
He's got like his own dark room. I guess we're now at like some like South American country or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Heartbeat!
Look, he's looking for a heartbeat! And now we got some model-looking person here.
Yeah, that'll give you a heartbeat.
Yeah. It's like, where'd she go? Huh? Oh, look at this guy's hair.
Hey, didn't he play for a winger?
Oh.
Look at that lime green guitar.
Oh.
That's crazy.
It is.
Okay, we're back to the apocalyptic model shoot, I guess.
Yeah.
And look at that thin guitar from the 80s. Oh, that's a relic.
That's a bass, man. That's a bass.
Oh, that's one hell of a bass. Oh, look at that. He just did a Roman Reigns style spear. We got these guys on bicycles. That is some lime green guitar that guy's got.
I know. Okay.
Oh, look at.
And Don Johnson is thinking something else. Okay, Don Johnson, I've noticed, is doing a lot of fist pumping in this video. Now I'm confused. Is this a fashion shoot? Is this a movie shoot?
Is this a war?
Is this a war? Is he supposed to be a embedded journalist? What?
Yeah, there's so many questions. Now he's looking at the film looking for the girl. Oh, we got a celebrity cameo coming up. All right, he's looking at this thing. Okay. But who does he get help with? Schaefer! And now he's walking. He's walking.
Oh my
in the middle.
gosh!
He's walking in the middle of Times Square. Look, heartbeat. Heartbeat just happened to be on the screen. And he's still frantically looking for that Corbin.
Yeah, he's editing his own sort of footage just so he can take a look. Is this person real?
Is this real?
Is this real life? Is it just fantasy?
Well, that's the end of the video, folks.
What did I just see?
Yeah, what did we just see?
I'm confused.
I am confused.
And there's not really any sort of resolution. It just ends.
There's no closure to this video.
It was Don Johnson in 1986. Nobody cared about resolution. It was Don Johnson.
It was. That's the main reason why you're watching a music video with Crockett. Okay, there you go. But guys, this album peaked at number 17 on the Billboard 200 charts, and the single actually peaked all the way at number 5. So the B-side to this for this single, Heartbeat, was called. Okay, you ready for the title of the B-side?
What's the title of the B-side?
Heartache Away.
Wow.
Yeah. Do you know what this peaked at on the Billboard Hot 100?
What did it peak at?
56.
Oh, wow.
So there you go.
You know what? Give all the credit in the world to the Swiss market because it was certified gold in the Swiss market.
Yeah. But oh my God, if you look at the personnel on the album, two that sing background vocals on the album, Bonnie Raitt and Willie Nelson.
Man, he had a lot of pull in the 80s.
Oh, yeah. And you know who else?
Oh, my gosh.
Bill Champlin was on this album. You know who Bill Champlin is? From Chicago?
Yeah, and also on the album playing guitar, Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Oh, my God!
Oh, my gosh.
It's Weasel Zappa.
Yeah, that's a lot of pull. That's not just a little pull. That's a lot.
That is crazy pull.
Yeah,
and on the horns, you had Chris Buddy and Lenny Pickett.
He went deep on this album. This had a lot of star power, and it didn't do much. Do we have any final thoughts about this music video?
I want closure.
I do, but what was Paul doing in the video?
What was Paul doing in the video? I don't know.
We said that he had a lot of pull with all those names we mentioned, Stevie Ray Vaughan and Lenny Pickett and whatnot. Paul Shaffer is a lot of pull at the time, even though he wasn't as legendary as the Letterman band leader as he'd be in later years.
Yeah, because it'd be like, 4 years into the late night run.
Yeah, it would have been 4 years in the late night run, but the thing is, he didn't participate in skits and the comedy as much. He was more sort of, I would say he was like a semi-snarky critic when it came to viewer mail. He didn't really take part in a lot of the different skits at that point, at least compared to what happened on the CBS show when they included Alan Coulter into the skits. I mean, he was just more or less the band leader and maybe sometimes made some remarks, but not as much as he'd do in later years.
No.
Mm-hmm.
But also, he was the SNL band leader, the original one, so he did have some cachet at the time.
So that's going to do it. And what can we say about this music video? But in 1986, it was a thing on TV. Thanks for listening to this minisode, guys, and we'll see you with some more episodes real soon.